My name is Mohammed Hossein Vahidi, and I'm now working as a project officer in UNESCO in Kabul, Afghanistan. And I graduated from university in Iran, and I got my bachelor's degree in education and also my master's degree in education. And then I came to Afghanistan in 2002, and I started working as Deputy Director for Teacher Education in the Ministry of Education in Kabul, Afghanistan. And then after 7 years, I went for my PhD program to the United States of America in the state of Massachusetts, and I studied in education, specifically in leadership and policy in education. And then I came back to Afghanistan working as a senior research and evaluation specialist in the Ministry of Education at the planning department. Then also I worked as a UNESCO consultant for the Ministry of Education. Then I started working as UNESCO staff, and now I'm working in the UNESCO office in Kabul. Actually, many teachers teaching in the schools, and specifically in Amir al-Mu'minin School, and they were not professional teachers, and they needed some training. As we and our colleagues and our friends graduated from university at that time, we had our bachelor's degree, and our specialty was education. So we felt that this is our responsibility to help, these young teachers to get more professional in this regard. And that was the beginning of our relationship with this school. Let me go a little bit back to the situation with why the Afghan refugees started their own school. I well remember at that time, Afghan children unfortunately face a lot of problems, though many of them used to go to Iranian government schools, but there were other categories that they were not allowed to go to Iranian school. And the factors that they were actually prevented them to go to Iranian school were like overage. Many of them were overaged. And because when they had left Afghanistan due to insecurity, and this was an interval, a long time, unfortunately, they have not been able to go to school, so they were overaged, so they were not accepted by Iranian government schools. This was one factor, and another factor, I think many of them didn't have residence document in Iran, so they were not eligible to go to Iranian schools. And but these self-regulated schools started to help this category of students. But I well remember that the schools were facing, unfortunately, lots of problems because they were not supported by anyone, by the government, the Iranian government, or any other, and just a very small amount of money as fees were received by the schools to just operate, these schools. They had to cram. They had to put all the students, all children, in one small room, just close to each other. And even when I remember that when I used to go there and visited one of the classes, because the room was small, but the number of children were big, and the fresh air was lacking there. So that was what I remember. But anyway, they tried, to solve the problems. I remember at that time they had put some chairs in the yard, in the open space, and they had gathered the students that they didn't have, space inside the room. This is one of the things. But still, as the parents were passionate and they liked their children to go to school to have quality educations, so they send their children to this kind of schools, and fortunately, most of them were graduated in that place. Now they have very good positions in different places, or they have continued their education either inside the country, inside Iran, or out of the country. And I remember he was really so passionate. He wanted the children to get education at any cost possible. I remember that he whenever there was a problem, he was ready to even to stay late in the school to solve those problems, to think about the programs, think about how to improve the quality of education, and when he noticed a problem inside the school, he tried to gather the other young colleagues to get together how to solve the problems. In general, I'm trying to say that he was not the person to give up, and all the time he was trying to come up with a creative way to solve the problems. That time I remember that it came to my mind that really, creativity or critical thinking, how it helps, to solve problems. I'm sure that when they come back to Afghanistan, they will not be the kind of usual common people. They can be very important people. They can contribute, to the education of Afghanistan, or they enter some professions or jobs in the government. I'm sure that they will contribute to the reconstruction of Afghanistan. And let me give you some examples. And when most of the teachers, they have come to Afghanistan, they are the best teachers in the schools, or if they have entered in the government system, they are highly professional people, and they are counted on, by the government. And even I know some of the teachers, even some of the students, now they have got admission for the universities either in Iran, in Afghanistan, and even in Europe and America, and they are now continuing their education. So that is not something very simple. That is because of thanks to Mr. Mousavi's effort that he has done in this regard.